I'm Marv Harrison, joined by Betty Girardin. And this evening we have a very special guest who visited once with us about a year ago, and we would like to welcome and have you welcome Yanti Gupti, who's with us. Did I pronounce it right, or was I close?
Close enough.
Close enough. Well, welcome again to the Adventures Travel Club television show. It's nice to see you. You came in from New York to do the show with us, and of course you're dressed so beautifully in your Indian sari.
Thank you.
You're very, very colorful. And we should mention that that Yanti is going to do a dance for us a little bit later on in today's show. And we also have a very special film that we're going to take a look at on India as well. But last time we talked with you, you were doing a television show in New York for the Indian audience.
I was, yeah. It's an ethnic station, an Indian television station based in New York, and I used to do the news for them. But I have stopped in the last couple of months because I've got into other television work with my husband.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Well, good. Well, at least you're keeping busy.
I'm keeping busy.
And we're delighted that you're with us. On this trip too. The country of India is a large one, and we're going to take a look at a film in just a little bit. Maybe you could sort of give us a little bit of an overview of some of the things that, if we were to visit India, that we might see. I mean, it's a large continent, and I know that's kind of a big bill to fill, but some of the things that are outstanding in your memory, or things that you would like to bring to the public.
Of course, I think what I should mention here is that India has such tremendous variety for the visitor. I mean, there is so much, so it really depends on the taste of the visitor, whether they like architecture, or they like game parks, or they want to go trekking, or they like food, because you can do an entire tour and just tasting the different kinds of foods that India has to offer. But of course, the first thing that comes to my mind and to a lot of people is the Taj Mahal, which is really beautiful. And I think no matter how much you read about it and see photographs, you have to actually be there to experience the sheer beauty of this monument. And that is situated in the north, in the city of Agra, which is very near to our capital city, Delhi. And another state to go to is Rajasthan, which is on the west coast, which is on the west side of India, which is our most colorful state. And they have beautiful palaces and forts, and it's very colorful, and it's very rich in handicrafts and wonderful for shopping. And of course, you have the entire south, which is very different to the north. It has a culture completely of its own in its food and the people, and the clothes and the handicrafts. It's very lush and green. It has tropical forests, contrary to what people think, that there's all this heat and dust in India and there's no greenery.
That's right, that really is.
And miles of beaches. India has a large coastline, which is virtually deserted. And I'm sure all of you have heard of Goa.
Oh, that's
I believe you have.
Go, yes.
Which is on the west coast and also has beautiful beaches, and of course it has this Portuguese influence and a very large Christian population. India has 18 million Christians, so it has beautiful old churches, and in fact St. Thomas came to India in 50 AD. So that was the first Christian influence we had, and subsequently there have been many missionaries that have come.
Yes. St. Francis Xavier was another great saint
Yes.
from Portugal.
Well, it seems like India, you could say, would very definitely be a land of contrast then.
It definitely is, yes. From mountains in the north to deserts to tropical forests.
Are there many Americans now that are visiting?
Many more now than ever before. I think it's gone up by something like 8 to 10% every year. And more Americans are going, which is nice. And I think that the best, at least for India, is for Americans to go to India, enjoy it, and come back and tell their friends that this is where we've been, and it's been wonderful. And I think that's the best advertising anyone can do. And there are many more that are going, especially from California, I believe.
Is that
Quite
right?
a few, yes.
Because it is a long distance. I mean, you're going halfway around the world, right?
You are, yeah. Well, the way we look at it is 20 hours.
Oh, you can do that standing on your head, right, Betty?
Oh, I don't think you stand on your head, Marv, really. I have another place that way you travel, not on your head. But it sounds very interesting. We had planned a trip to India last year, and I don't know what happened, whether something came up within our schedule or something, but we didn't do it. But it certainly sounds like something we should do in the future.
Yeah, very definitely. I think that we should include that on our itinerary. Yeah, I amazed at a lot of reading that I have done on India through things like National Geographic and Smithsonian Magazine and various things like that. And it really whets your appetite, you know, and the beautiful things that you see there. And yeah, I've wanted to visit India for a long time. And
I don't think the distance should sort of intimidate anybody. People get scared, they say it's so far away, but I think once you get there, it's really worth it because it's a completely different world and it's so fascinating and interesting, I think.
What is the predominant language in India now?
Well, you know, everybody speaks English. At least English is understood by most people, so I think that's one of the great advantages, to be able to be understood and understand. But we have 15 major languages in India.
15 major
languages,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
But English is sort of the binding force. It's sort of the language of the government and of the courts.
Tell me about the food. I mean, you said we could eat and have a wonderful
Yeah.
time, but is the food spicy, or do you have...
It's spicy in some parts of India. You know, every region has its own special cuisine. Everyone seems to think of this word curry. You know, Indian food is nothing but curry, but that's a complete fallacy. There's no such word as curry. Curry, I think, was just given by the British when they were in India to sort of, you know, that's all the Indian food is curry, which is kind of a stew, which is not true. Every dish has its own combination of spices, you know, typical spice from each region. In the north, you have food which are more barbecued because of the influence of the Muslims and the Mughals that came into northern India. But if you go south, there's a lot of abundance of coconut. So you have a lot of food cooked in coconut milk. I mean, shrimp in coconut milk is delicious. So it's each region. In the east, in Bengal, which is near the sea coast, they have a lot of fish. They eat a lot of fish there. There's a lot of vegetarian food. It's just wonderful because we have a number of varieties of vegetables. So it's different in every region, and it's not really very spicy. We don't eat spicy food. I think that's a myth too.
Well, we
doesn't
hear
have to be
this, we hear
spicy,
this,
yes.
you know, and so these are things you kind of like to put at rest for people that might be interested in going.
And I think that a nice thing about India is that, you know, people are so hospitable that it's never a problem being invited to anybody's home, because of course the best food you get in people's homes.
Oh, of course.
Every sort of dish has been made with so much love and devotion, and you can make friends so easily. People love visitors and they welcome them to their homes and feed them. I mean, if you go to India and there's a marriage taking place, I know it's happened to friends of mine, American friends, and they see a wedding taking place and they just walk in and they say, you know, this looks wonderful, and they're sort of welcomed in, and
Isn't that
they
wonderful?
sit through and they have a
Yes,
wonderful
yes.
time.
That is.
It's open to everybody. They're really hospitable.
How long have you been here from India?
In the
yourself,
United States.
in the United
I have
States?
lived in America for now close to 10 years.
Oh.
I like it here,
Yes.
but I'm lucky I go back twice a year.
You see, you have a brother. You have two brothers, don't you?
I have two brothers,
in
yes.
India, yes.
I have two brothers in India. My parents there, and I visit them. They come and visit me.
Oh, that's nice. Yes.
India has one of the biggest film businesses in the world as far as the film industry is concerned. You do an awful lot of productions of Indian films.
We make 800 films a year. India does, yes.
800?
800 films a year. And the Hollywood of India is in the city of Bombay, which is a great commercial center. And we also have a big film industry in the south, because a lot of Indian films are made in regional languages. Most of them are made in the language of Hindi, which is the predominant regional language. But of course, we have, as I said, 15 languages, so people want to see pictures in their languages as well. So we do have a lot of Indian movies.
I'm interested in the women. Do they have the freedom today that we do have here in the Americas?
Very much so, especially if you go to the cities. You notice it. It's, you know, India is a society which is in transition. There's tremendous changes taking place. And I think about women, the change has really been definitely due to education, because more and more women are being educated now, and that, of course, you know, has its results, and they want to work, and they want to be out, and they want to have economic independence. Of course, we all are brought up to say, you know, our parents say you must be good wives and good homemakers, but I don't think that works anymore, and they all want to be out and they want to work. And we have women of course, in politics. We had a woman prime minister for a number of years, Mrs. Gandhi, and we have women in all fields of in India. They're getting into everything now. So there is a big change.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, we're going to pause right now and take a look at this wonderful film that we have, and this will sort of give you an overview of some of the things that you will see if you travel to India. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome to the Indian experience, a land of many cultures, many seasons, many wonders, where the festival of life never ends. Rich, unique, unexpected. India is many, and it is one. We start our tour beginning at Delhi, the capital of India, a city of monuments and historical ruins. The elegant five-tiered Qutub Minar, a landmark of Delhi, is a memorial of victory. In Delhi, the ancient and the modern are in constant juxtaposition and offer the visitor a fascinating glimpse into the past and the present. Beautiful hotels, where hospitality and service are a part of the Indian way of life. They offer a diverse range of facilities in pleasant surroundings. Relaxation and shopping add to the charm of your visit. After spending a couple of days in Delhi, we head for Kashmir, Garden of the Himalayas, where blue lotus lakes reflect the dazzling peaks. The air is crisp and clear on the Dal and Nagin lakes in Srinagar, and beautifully hand-carved houseboats float gently on the water. Vendors selling flowers, saffron and shawls glide by your floating hotel. Silk and wool carpets, delicately carved wooden furniture and finely painted papier-mâché articles have long been a specialty of Srinagar's artisans. Adventure calls in Kashmir, where each season holds out the promise of experiencing the exhilaration of the great outdoors. Ladakh, the land of the Buddha. Just 35 minutes away by air, Ladakh is an exotic land of monasteries, a testimony of a civilization that still survives. Today, tourists from all parts of the world throng to Leh, the capital of Ladakh, to see the last Shangri-La, the hermit kingdom. In the bylanes and stalls in Leh, there are many unusual curios. In and around Leh are village industrials where many different crafts are made, from the weaving of rugs to colorful tanka paintings. These mysterious mountain ranges and an open expanse of fields offer some of the most fascinating trekking routes in the world. Hotels in Leh are beautifully situated throughout the town. We then head for Rajasthan via Delhi, from where we can fly or take a train ride on the Palace on Wheels. Our first stop is Jaipur, the jewel of Rajasthan, the Pink City. One of our visits is to a splendid 17th century bastion, the Amer Fort. Our next destination leads us to Udaipur, one of the most romantic spots in India. Built on the banks of the Pichola Lake, Udaipur is home to the marvelous Lake Palace Hotel. Our next halt is Fatehpur Sikri, planned and built by the Emperor Akbar. Agra, home of the Taj Mahal, a dream in marble. From Agra, we fly to Varanasi, where oil lamps flicker and flame on the holy waters of the Ganga, and thousands of devotees stand waist deep in the sacred waters, hands folded, heads bowed, and a new day dawns in Varanasi, city of light, Hinduism's holiest city. Varanasi has been India's premier place of learning, and today that tradition is upheld by the Benares Hindu University. The university has one of the finest collections of miniature paintings and sculptures. A wide choice of hotels in comfortable surroundings offer a large selection of crafts and curios, the most renowned being the silks and brocades of Varanasi. Sarnath, 8 kilometers away. Here the Lord Buddha preached his sermon more than 2,500 years ago. The Ashok pillar in Sarnath is now the state symbol of India. We now travel east to Calcutta, the 4th largest city in the world. Calcutta, with its rising skyline, bustling streets and subways, here the old and the new find a harmonious blend. The splendid hotels in Calcutta, the best of both worlds. The golf courses of Calcutta, a special experience. The Indian Museum, set up in 1814, is the oldest in the country. Some of the finest sculptures can be found here. Elegant silks, brocades, and gold jewelry can be found in the exotic markets of Calcutta, home of the Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore, one of India's greatest poets. Calcutta, a city of festivals. The images of the goddess Durga are adorned and revered and then immersed in the waters of the river. From clay to clay, all is returned to the river of all rivers. Our tour then takes us by air to Bhubaneswar in Orissa, one of India's most beautiful states. This enchanting state on the Bay of Bengal is a kaleidoscope of past splendors and contemporary expressions. The Sun Temple of Konark, the symbol of Orissa. The applique work of Orissa in a village called Pipli is a splendor of color and craftsmanship. The wild life of Orissa, untainted, unspoiled. Puri, one of the 4 main Hindu pilgrim centers in India, is famous for its Jagannath temple. Washed by the blue sea on the eastern coast, we finally come to the quiet and charming seaside resort of Gopalpur on Sea, a unique and extraordinary holiday resort. Leaving Bhubaneswar, we fly to the south. Madras, the gateway to the south, has an international airport and excellent hotels. Here, taking a moment to relax, we drive to Mahabalipuram, now known as Mamallapuram. Between the 7th and 10th centuries AD, it was a major seaport. The rock-cut monuments of Mamallapuram belong to the early phase of Dravidian temple architecture. And a short distance away, we approach Kanchipuram, one of the 7 sacred cities for Hindus. Kanchipuram, known for its fine silks. We leave for Bangalore, the capital of Karnataka, today one of India's main high-technology centers. Bangalore, also known for its gardens and flowers, is a charming and spacious city. 400 years old, but one of the most modern cities in India, where hotels and relaxation have a distinction of their own. Leaving Bangalore, with its magnificent parks and impressive buildings, we drive through a scenic route to Mysore. Once capital of erstwhile Maharajas, Mysore has an aura of grandeur and royalty, and some of the finest silks are made in the silk factories of Mysore. And then to the magnificent Hoysala temples of Halibid and Belur. These temples are covered with 800-year-old carvings, which come alive with magic and grace. And on our way back to Bangalore, we stop at Shravanabelagola, where we see a 17-meter-high monolithic statue of Lord Gomateshwara, said to be one of the highest in the world. We return to Bangalore for the connecting flight to Cochin. Cochin, one of Kerala's most interesting cities. Centuries ago, Vasco da Gama arrived to place Cochin on the world map. The church, the temple, the mosque and the synagogue all stand together in a harmonious whole. The Matanchiri synagogue, originally built in 1568, was destroyed by the Portuguese in 1662 and rebuilt in 1664. Quaint streets with antiques and crafts are a delight to the shopper. Hotels in Cochin offer a wonderful array of foods, catering to different tastes. Cochin, a place full of pleasant surprises, known to many as the Queen of the Arabian Sea, where festivals, celebrations and mythology are part of the delightful experience. And so on to Goa, a celebration of life and living. Once long ago, the enraptured Portuguese called Goa the Pearl of the Orient. Goa today is a surprising place. In the midst of India, you subtly come upon the Mediterranean. Let the music of this gentle people welcome you to romance and tranquility. The blending of two cultures, Portuguese and Indian, is apparent everywhere in Goa. Goa, with its beautiful beaches and excellent hotels and famous cuisine, Seafoods of all kinds and local Indian dishes are all part of a cosmopolitan experience. Goa, whose tradition, culture, festivals, and beauty will make your stay unforgettable. And finally to Bombay, the city which welcomes you to glamour, vitality, and action. Bombay, a fascinating city. From obscure, humble beginnings, the city has risen to such eminence that today it is India's most important commercial and industrial center. A cosmopolitan city with a choice and range of hotels to suit every taste, Bombay is a treat for the shopper. An hour's ride away by launch within the waters of the harbour is the island of Karapuri or Elephanta, the site of a magnificent rock-cut cave temple with large sculptured interiors. Leaving the Elephanta caves, we return to Bombay with its bustling streets and beautiful skyline. And here in Bombay, the gateway to India ends a memorable tour. Experience the wonder that is India. Come again, discover us.
Well, that was very interesting, and we have another tape that we're going to see on another program about India, and I'm sure that you're going to enjoy that too. But before we go on any further, you are going to do a dance for us in just a little bit.
Yes.
So how about explaining about the costume that you have on, and I notice that your fingers are, the tips
red.
of those are painted red.
And so are my feet.
And your feet as well, so that there must be some explanation on that.
Of course, yeah. Well, about the costume, I'm wearing, as you can see, it's a silk. It's a heavy silk, and we call it, well, we have different types of silk, which is woven in India, and this is called Kanjivaram silk, because it's woven in a little town called Kanjivaram, which is in the south of India near Madras. And if you go there, you can see the people actually weaving this special silk, and we use it for our costume. It's really a sari, which is 6 yards, and it's been stitched in this particular way. And the jewelry that I have on is semi-precious stones, which is a typical of the South Indian style of dance, which I do, which is called Bharatanatyam.
Now, what is the dance going to signify that you're
Well, the
doing?
particular dance that I'm doing is on Lord Nataraj, which is the Lord of Dance. We have a lot of gods and goddesses in the Indian pantheon, any number of them. And this is on Shiva, which is one of the this is one of his manifestations where he's a god of dance. So it's just a little dance which is in praise of him, and we very often start a dance performance with this dance.
Oh, I see. Good. Now, have you studied dance for quite some time?
I've studied for a number of years. I forget. About 17 years. My teacher lives in India.
Is that right?
We call him a guru, and I go back as often as I can to study from him. There's this tremendous communication between teacher and student in India. We have a lot of regard and respect for our teacher. It's very hard to continue with this art form without a feedback from him all the time. So I have to go back and study from him.
Now, what do your fingers and your feet signify?
We
being
use our
painted red?
feet and hands a lot in Indian dance. There's a whole language of hand gestures, which we call hasta, which we express a feeling or emotion. We use our feet a lot to execute rhythm. So when we are on stage and we're dancing, it's easy to notice the hands and the feet with this, which you will probably see a bit of in the dance.
Good. All righty. Well, we're going to close our program today with your beautiful dance, and we want to thank you so very much for being our guest again
Thank you.
on
I enjoyed
Adventure
it.
Travel Club, and we hope that you'll come back and see us again. Only don't make it a full year's time.
Well, I hope you go to India before the year is over.
I hope that we do too, don't we? Very good. So now we're going to enjoy this wonderful dance.
Dim, taka dhimi dhimi ta dhimi ta taka dirigida ta that ta taka ta dim ta ta dim ta sam tadavanna muni jana sagala sura sannuta pata gini jam Jana 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 nu pura laya gad gana vidhi kari sevita choda takan tari kita tagatam ta tak kita kita tak kita dari kita tak sandavi dambar kita kita tak dari kita tak vyakrama samhar tum kita tak sana kita tak tidri suladara nam kita tak nana kita tak nandi vakana nada yoga priya jaganam kita tak tuka tukatai Jaka Jaka Jaya Jaya Sati Rava Bhushan Rupa Bhayangara Dhamma Ruga Kaste Tritiya Sagastra Dikshada Nada Nadesa Kavutvami Taka Taka Tam Dikki Dikki Dim Tantu Dikku Takita Tum Kita Kita Takidan Sangi Kita Taka Dikki Tam Tata la la la